Good evening and welcome to the Nightcap. Today, I'm here to speak to you about pre-marital classes. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. I see my broski there. He's like, I know. You know what I mean? If you like it, you gotta put a ring on it. um, but so it's been such a beautiful and interesting journey of kind of looking into this kind of premarital classes space, right? And um, the main sort of connected essence here was we're like, oh, my partner and we were just kind of preparing ourselves for this road and life and journey that we're going to walk,
Yeah.
and it was then quite funny to kind of start sharing. It's not like we sharing this information, but just start telling some people, right? And you kind of then think, oh wow, that's so serious. And then I was talking to one of my friends, and he was like, bro, are they premarital classes for single people? you know? And it was so funny because it was like, it makes so much sense, right? To actually, as a single person, go to a premarital class, right? Because if you know where you'd like to go, right, it gets you in the stream and thought process of exactly the things and being able to isolate and move between left and right, all the types of people and things that you fully value and appreciate and would like to have in a partner, and all the types of things that, like, oh, when you see them, because you've already had the full thought process of what you envision your marriage and your future life partner to be and look like, and look as in not in looks but qualities and characteristics, right? Because you've walked that path of understanding these things, you have a clearer picture and vision of what a partner looks like. And so that was quite funny. And then I spoke to another friend about this, and they were like, yeah, that is so true. I would like to do premarital classes as a single person. You know what I mean? I'll do
Mm.
them again when I'm with my partner, but it's like, especially at our age and at our time, it's very much a story of, um, okay, are you stepping into this environment and getting your mind set and ready to just say, oh, these are the key qualities and characteristics of the things that I would like to do and I'd like to see in a partner. Yeah. What do you think?
Yes, I guess my first question, maybe for people listening, is just to clarify what is a premarital clause. So, if you maybe give us an example of one thing that you've learned, sort of thing, just so we can better
Mm,
understand.
mm. So it's such a beautiful space because a premarital class is kind of frameworked around some of the important elements of a marriage, right? And in our context, we're looking at it from a faith perspective, but I think it's also faith agnostic, right? You kind of talk about communication, you talk about finances, you talk about family, you talk about your values as a couple, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And these are all, it just walks through key pillars that are fundamental to building a strong and long lasting marriage, right?
I get
Um,
you.
and I think almost, yeah, fundamentals, and touches on the key areas that raise difficulties in marriages, right? And the
Hmm.
whole kind of essence is equipping you with the principles of, firstly, I think number one, having talking through difficult things is good because we're now equipped. We know, like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Certain difficult situations, if they arise, it's not like, oh, how do I? We entered it knowingly, knowing and understanding each other, how we react, how we think, and how we feel. And then moving from there, it's a, okay, cool. How do we dance with this when they come
Yeah.
up? You know what I mean? And this is good things and tough things. Yeah. And so that's kind of the what a premarital class looks like.
Okay. I guess so. I guess for me, then maybe I need to give it some more thought, but I'm
Mm,
not sure I understand how it could be applied to me as a single person.
mm,
And why I say that is because I have my principles, I have my values, I have these things. But so I guess when it's premarital, what you're doing, obviously, as you said, is that you're trying to, maybe there's things you need to meet in the middle on, like those sorts of
mm,
things, to say, okay,
mm.
well, like, oh, this is a non-starter for me, this is a non-starter for me, sort of thing, and like, how do we build this life together, sort of thing. But for me, I have an idea already of what my non-negotiables are, how I would like to raise my kids, how I'd like to do these things. So I guess it's now, when I've met someone and I've I think she's the one. It's sort of, yeah, to go to this class and let's have these conversations and structured
Mm.
conversations, so that we don't have, and like 5 years time, when now there's a kid involved and
Exactly.
things get very complicated.
Exactly. So there's 2 points that you raised there, and so the one, I suppose we'll speak to the one in that the easier one, in that it's about, because it tends to people tend to do this is like 2 weeks before the wedding day, sort of a thing,
Okay,
is
well,
kind
okay,
of what we've understood. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Um, and we kind of were thinking like it makes sense to do it like far before, right? Because you're building fundamentals for exact reason that you said. It mustn't be 5 years in and now we're married and we're about to have a kid and it's like, oh, you'd like your kid raised like this and I'd like my kid raised like this. Now the baby's about to be born. And it's not to say we're changing that, but it means that as we're moving towards this thing, we both know how we're moving towards it on the same page without the kind of moment before the baby's born, oh, you'd like the baby to be in South Africa,
yeah,
sort of a thing.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, we're in London, sort of a thing. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And it was strange. So that's the key essence of this whole thing is um it's that preparation, you know what I mean? It's not like we now, okay, tomorrow we're getting married, you know what I mean? It's this
yeah,
building, engaging in preparing for all the blessings that you're going to be walking into. And I think it's connected to this thing of, you have to be laying the groundwork in order to get to the top of the mountain, so to say. You don't just wake up and, oh, we're here. You kind of have to be
yeah,
doing the things and taking the steps to be ready to get to the top of a mountain or to finish the marathon. So that's the second part. And I think the first part that you were saying around what you've got your ideals, for me, why it felt resonatory that if I was single was having clear things and pillars that I must think on internally, right?
yeah,
And to kind of just say, oh, how do I actually feel about this? You know what I mean? How
yeah,
do I actually feel about this? And you go on a date and it's not like you're gonna be sifting, but you kind of
yeah,
you engage in those things early on, right? And
yeah,
not because now you're getting married, but it's like,
mhm,
oh, you find out fundamentals about yourself and things that are important to you. And so as you then engaging, like, you go on dates and you start, these become integrated into your conversation. You're actually able to get to the core of, oh, what's this person about? And are we compatible around other things? And naturally, like you say, when you know.
yeah,
And if their views are different, that's great. You know what I mean? It's about then talking in the openness and this whole process to say, ah, what are yours? What are your fundamentals and why? I think what's the also beautiful part of this has been understanding the why, because no one is right or wrong. When you
yeah.
have context, you're like, oh, I get where that can be
Why you
coming
think that way?
from, and I'm happy to do that. That's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get you,
Mm.
and I guess now it's my, it's kind of not what's the word I'm looking for. My next consideration, the concern is not a consideration. It's just the
Mm.
idea of course, you have these fundamentals, but you, KG, and your partner, you are ever changing human beings,
Mm.
and so I guess now you're having these classes, you're having these conversations now, but in 2 years' time, I hope that, KG, you are not the same person that you are today.
Absolutely. Yes.
'Cause
Yes. Yes,
sort of thing.
yes,
So
yes.
how does that then filter into that? Do you then in 2 years' time have to redo this sort of thing, or do you have the pillars now to be able to have these conversations and say, well, I did believe this 2 years ago when we first did it. Now, because it's something we didn't agree on, I just want to tell you that now I've changed my opinion, or maybe it's something we did agree on and now I don't agree with you, sort of thing. So yeah, how do you move
Mm,
forward from
mm.
there?
And that is, I love this question. It's so beautiful because of the fact that one of the fundamental things that I've learned from starting the process is that always be open to learning about your partner. Nothing is a stock. And that really blew my mind. In as much as your question is so incredible, that really blew my mind because when you take it from that lens, it opens your heart to then saying, like, actually, nothing is a stock. I must be continuously open to learning about how you change because exactly like you said, I am changing. And therefore, by definition, your partner is changing every single day. The same
Yeah.
way that you are changing every single day. And so having that learning mindset is, you're like, oh, today I like broccoli all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And cool is like, oh, wow, my partner likes, you know, cabbage all of a sudden and being okay and embracing that. You know what I mean?
embracing that.
Yeah.
So I
Mm.
think to flip it back to something you said that I think is really important. Is you said that like we have these beliefs, but they are, or maybe not beliefs is not the right word, but we have these principles, let's say, and they are built on. There's a reason that they exist, and now, okay, as you said, in 2 years' time, something could happen tomorrow that makes you change how you think about X, Y, Z. So to anyone listening here, as you said, like if someone is important to you, someone that you value, you need to understand that they are not going to be the same person forever. There
Mm.
will be changes. They will go through, like, some things will happen that will make them reflect, make them go, oh, okay, maybe what I thought was wrong. And as I said to KG, and I said very specifically, is that I hope you're not going to be the same person in 3 years, because you
Absolutely.
shouldn't be. You
You
should be.
shouldn't be.
You're ever evolving. You're experiencing new things. You're meeting new people. You're doing great things. You're being amazing, if I can say it. And that's going to be growth, and that's going to be change, and that's going to make you a better you, hopefully.
Absolutely, Big Man V. And with that, I'd like to then say thank you for coming to the Nightcap. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Right, KG.